Elena had once lived in a one-room apartment on the edge of the city. She worked long hours and barely earned enough to feed herself and her 6-year-old son, Matteo. Life was hard, but they had each other. Then one afternoon, Matteo vanished. The police searched for a while. Neighbors offered sympathy. Months passed. Eventually, everyone told her the same thing: move on. Elena never did. For years, she chased rumors, visited shelters, and studied missing child cases. She spent nights staring at old photographs, refusing to believe her son was gone forever. Then, 11 years later, she saw something that changed everything. A charity gala was playing on television. The country's most beloved humanitarian stood beside a wealthy family while cameras flashed around them. Next to them stood a teenage boy. Elena nearly dropped her cup. On the left side of the boy's neck was a small, crescent-shaped birthmark, a mark she knew by heart: Matteo's birthmark. The family claimed he was their biological son. Elena knew he wasn't. The more she investigated, the more one name appeared everywhere she looked: the famous philanthropist whose charities supposedly rescued vulnerable children. Nobody listened to Elena's accusations. She was poor. The woman was powerful. So Elena spent years preparing. She earned childcare certifications, built an impeccable employment history, and carefully crafted a new life for herself. Her goal was simple: get inside the woman's mansion. 8 years later, she finally succeeded. She was hired as a nanny. The mansion was magnificent: marble floors, private gardens, armed security, and endless rooms. Journalists often visited. Celebrities attended fundraisers there. It looked like the home of a saint. Elena spent months quietly observing. Then months turned into a year. And finally, one night, she discovered a hidden elevator concealed behind a bookshelf in the mansion's library. The elevator led deep underground. What waited below shattered every remaining doubt. There were archives, computer servers, photographs, records, hundreds of files on missing children. Many had been assigned new identities. Others contained payment records connected to wealthy families. And among them was Matteo's file. His old photograph stared back at her from the screen. 6 years old, missing, sold, a new name assigned, a new family purchased. For a long time, Elena simply stood there. She had found the truth, not just about Matteo, about all of them. The next several nights were spent copying everything she could find: documents, financial transactions, emails, photographs, names. When she finally had enough, she didn't go to the police. She didn't trust them. Instead, she sent the files anonymously to dozens of journalists, news stations, and international organizations. Then she waited. The explosion came 3 days later. Every major network carried the story: secret documents, missing children, elite families, corruption. The nation erupted in outrage. Reporters flooded the mansion. Satellite trucks lined the gates. Journalists shouted questions as officials rushed in and out. In the chaos, nobody paid attention to the quiet nanny standing among the household staff. Nobody knew her name. Nobody recognized her face. She watched silently as the empire began to collapse. Then came an even bigger shock. Several days into the investigation, police uncovered the hidden elevator beneath the mansion. The discovery made headlines across the country. Officers descended into the underground complex, expecting more evidence. Instead, they found the woman. She was dead inside one of the secret rooms. The circumstances were unclear. Some believed she had taken her own life before she could be arrested. Others suspected one of her powerful associates had silenced her. The truth was never proven. What investigators did find were enough records to expose the entire network. Arrests followed across the country. Wealthy families, administrators, lawyers, and officials were dragged into the scandal. The woman who had been celebrated as a national hero became remembered as something else entirely. Months later, people still debated how such crimes had remained hidden for so long. Few ever spoke about the nanny. Few knew she had been there from the beginning. And as Elena quietly left the city behind, Carrying a photograph of Matteo in her bag, she felt no triumph. The woman was dead. The truth was public. But some losses could never be returned. Still, after nearly 20 years of searching, she had done the one thing nobody else could. She had forced the world to see what was hidden beneath the mansion.